If I could just have your attention for a very short while before the reception actually gets underway, we would like to have a bit of a formal part to this very special day. And I think, first of all, what I'd like to do on behalf of all of you is to thank all of those merchant Marines who were able to make it here today. I think our group keeps getting bigger each year, and we may have to expand right into the Senate chamber next year. So it's really good on a nice day to have you out to celebrate Merchant Navy Day, and thank you all very much for being here. The second item of thanks is to thank Stéphane Houlette, who was your Master of Ceremonies at the War Memorial, and all those that helped to put together that very meaningful service. And in particular, I know you would want me to ask them to come forward so we can thank them for their help. The Navy League cadets who were there helping us. Would you just come forward so we can all see you? Come forward here. Just stand here. Stand right in front here. Ladies and gentlemen, your future, the Navy League cadets. You did a great job. Thank you. I thought it was just a wonderful a combination of the veterans and the youth that the veterans had been working to preserve. I thought it was just a wonderful, wonderful comment. And thank you all very much for being here and helping. Okay. Now, there were a number of parliamentarians in attendance, and this being one of the Houses of Parliament, I did want to introduce them if they have been able to stay on. I'll let you know that they were here, starting with Speaker Peter Milliken, who was here just a short while ago and did attend. Speaker Milliken, over in this corner, thank you very much for being here, Speaker of the House of Commons and Member of Parliament for Kingston and the Islands. David Kilgore, Member of Parliament for one of the ridings in Edmonton, was in attendance. François Boivin. Françoise is the député de la circonscription de Gatineau, et elle est ici aussi comme représentante de la ministre des Patrimoine canadienne, Lisa Frula. I don't see her here now, but she was in attendance earlier on, and you saw her place one of the wreaths. Also in attendance today was Jean-Claude Damour from the riding of northern New Brunswick, Madawaska Restigouche, salmon fishing country, if you know that part of the country. And of course, our Minister of Veterans Affairs, Albina Guarnieri, and I will be calling upon her to say a few words very shortly. Also in attendance was a member of the Bloc from Rivière des Mille Îles in Quebec, Gilles Parron. Est-ce qu'il est ici maintenant? No, quelques-uns ils ont parti déjà. But I am very appreciative that they were in attendance to help mark this very important day. Now, there was one other person I think it's important to continue to mention the fact that what we are recognizing today in the Merchant Navy Veterans Day was the result of a bill that started in the House of Commons down the hall and then ended up and was passed here and received royal assent here in this chamber. It was Bill C-411, and it received royal assent in 2003. And so that long struggle for recognition for the Merchant Marines came to fruition finally at the recognition of a special day to recognize the contribution, the tremendous contribution that you heard about today from Stéphane Houlette as he read out the number of ships that went down and the number of personnel lost. And my recollection is that the very first person who was lost at sea at the beginning of the Second World War was a female merchant marine officer. So it is fitting that we do have this recognition, and I'm glad that you're here with us to help recognize this day that will be forever on the 3rd of September each year. We'll have a service at the War Memorial, and hopefully we'll continue to have the Senate play an important role in this, and I will try to ensure that that happens. Now, we're going to have three things. We're going to have some nibblies for you, and I'd like to thank Veterans Affairs Canada for their assistance, along with the Senate of Canada in hosting the reception. We're also going to call on, in addition to the minister, and after the minister, I'll be calling on a special presentation of a song entitled Merchant Marine by Nathan MacDonald. But first of all, and before we have the presentation of the song, I want to call to the podium now the Minister of Veterans Affairs. As Vice Chair of the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs, I have the wonderful opportunity of working with Albina Guarnieri. She's a representative from Mississauga East, Cooksville, in the Toronto region, just west of Toronto, and is doing just a superb job for all veterans. And we've had a very, very busy day, or busy year in the Year of the Veteran, and she has been just a superb leader in that effort. Ladies and gentlemen, the Minister of Veterans Affairs, Albina Guarnieri. Albina.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Day. You deserve a Medal of Chivalry for that kind of introduction. When it comes to veterans, Senator Day always follows the lead of the Merchant Navy, and I must confess, he has calmed the seas at the Senate and sailed our new Veterans Charter through very calm seas in the end. So anyway, thank you for all your support and your efforts. Merchant Navy veterans, family members, Speaker Milliken, colleagues from the House of Commons and the Senate. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui en cette journée historique pour nous rappeler avec une gratitude toute particulière les nombreux marins, marchands qui sont tombés au combat et dont le service et les sacrifices resteront un gage de fierté dans nos mémoires. Nous sommes également présents pour remercier ceux qui sont encore avec nous aujourd'hui, pour leur rendre hommage et pour leur dire que nous ne cesserons d'apprendre de leur expérience et de leur réalisation colossale. Throughout this year of the veteran, we have reflected on an era when imperiled nations of the world called on Canada to help deliver them from evil and tyranny. They would discover that it was Canada's merchant navy that delivered the goods and supplied the tools to rebuild their freedom. Together, Canada's merchant navy formed its own thin red line, a thin line of hope across the ocean. It was a convoy of courage that fueled victory and delivered the peace we enjoy today. It could be said that every battle won in Europe started on the waters of the Atlantic. There, Canadians struggled to keep hope afloat and victory in sight. Canadian ships propelled through icy waters, made deadly by U-boats, and propelled our allies forward with supplies of food, arms, and troops. The Atlantic hummed with traffic and hummed with the unsung heroes who changed the tune of war. The ability of merchant ships to break through the U-boats in the Atlantic allowed our troops and our allies to break through in Normandy. And on this and every Merchant Navy Veterans Day, we remember the 1,600 men and women who sacrificed their lives and futures to supply us with a worthy future of that sacrifice. Their history must be a renewable resource that will inspire generations ahead to match their commitment and service to Canada. At the end of the Second World War, Rear Admiral Leonard Murray, Commander-in-Chief, Canadian North Atlantic, credited, quote, the courage, fortitude, and determination of the British and Allied merchant navy with winning the Battle of the Atlantic. I would like to echo his words regarding the valor of these brave men and women. 60 years ago, our merchant navy rose above the tides and delivered for Canada. Today, we must raise their legacy above the tide of time and preserve the precious cargo that is the story of Canada's merchant navy. Thank you.
Thank you, Madame la Ministre. Merci beaucoup pour votre parole. I'd now like to call on Nathan MacDonald, who is from Glace Bay, Cape Breton. And Nathan advises me that he wrote this piece, but I'd like Nathan to come up and tell us a little bit about the history of how he happened to write this piece. Nathan.
Thank you very much, Mnvday. For You was written, released in 2001 with my band Celtic on our Merchant Marine. And the song was inspired by the sacrifice of Canada's Merchant Navy veterans. Quand j'étais jeune, j'ai entendu parler toutes sortes d'histoires à l'île Cap-Breton. Nous allons plusieurs anciens combattants, des marins marchands, qui m'ont raconté des histoires de courage, des histoires de fierté, d'un emploi très important pour notre pays. And a couple of words about this song. First of all, I wrote this song from the perspective of the person out on the ship at the time. There are lines in the song which allude to the fact that there would be no pension when they returned. There are lines in the song that alluded to the dangers that they faced. We've come a long way since that happened, and as we all know, the pensions did finally get passed, and we now have days like this. And so this song is about 5 years old, and it's a wonderful thing to look at the progress that Canada's made in recognizing this very important sacrifice. And this song was dedicated to Canada's Merchant Navy veterans. We sang it in the style of a traditional sea shanty as well. This is a bowron, by the way, if anybody wants to know. This is an Irish drum, and it's pretty popular where I come from in Cape Breton. And if there's any singers out there who feel like joining in if they catch the refrain, by all means, don't be shy.
We're the merchant marine, and we sail across the sea as the U-boats, torpedoes, hunt for hulls that they can reach. We will brave the rugged ocean, blistering winds, test our devotion, but we'll keep steaming till our cargo's on the beach. We arrived in Halifax with all we owned upon our backs, for we knew a brave man's duty was to labour for the fight. But it takes more than bravery to survive killers. You can't see those bastard wolf packs hunt by day and strike by night. We have barely any weapons every day, our lives are threatened, and if we die the Navy sends no pension to our wives. Winter on the North Atlantic is hellish cold and frantic, for the sea alone's a challenge to survive. We're the merchant marine, and we sail across the sea as the U-boats, torpedoes, hunt for hulls that they can reach. We will brave the rugged ocean, blistering winds, test our devotion, but we'll keep steaming till our cargo's on the beach. In the war of Hitler's visions, the Allies would get no provisions. Total war was his decision, sinking ships not built to fight. The finest liners of our day are now painted battle grey, but the two small guns they mounted caused no fright. Now it's true we had protection, 2 destroyers in our section, 3 frigates, 2 corvettes, a shepherd, 50 through the waves. But 1 destroyer's now debris, both corvettes across under the sea, and our sister ships an underwater grave. We're the merchant marine, and we sail across the sea as the U-boats, torpedoes, hunt for hulls that they can reach. We will brave the rugged ocean, blistering winds, test our devotion, but we'll keep steaming till our cargo's on the beach. Now we mourn our fallen brothers, pray to God there'll be no others. Below the bits fight dying demons deep below, for the carnage and the thunder Let's up those good boys under Heaven's Day, and we've 3 more days to go. We're the Merchant Marine, and we sail across the sea as the U-boats, torpedoes, hunt for hulls that they can reach. We will brave the rugged ocean, blistering winds, test out of motion, but we'll keep steaming till our cargo's on the beach. We're the Merchant Marine, and we sail across the sea as the U-boats, torpedoes, hunt for hulls that they can reach. We will brave the rugged ocean, blistering winds, test our emotion, but we'll keep steaming till our cargo's on the beach. Yes, we'll keep steaming till our cargo's on the beach.
Nathan MacDonald, Cape Breton Island. Nathan, well done. Well, it rests only for me now, ladies and gentlemen. It remains only for me to thank you all very much for coming and to tell you that the sandwiches and drinks are now available. The cadets will show you which way to go through. They were kind of anxious to find out where the start was, so I told them to go over and show all the rest of us. I think I saw our Mr. Christopher here. If he is Mr. Christopher, yep. Terry Christopher is the usher of the Black Rod here in the Senate, and he's the man that can make sure that the door gets opened again so you can have a tour of the mace. And if you'd like to give him a round of applause for helping make this available, that would be appreciated. Now, finally, after you've had a bite to eat and to drink, after you've toured your Senate chamber and your Senate foyer, on the way out, would each of you make sure, each of the veterans make sure that he or she gets a gift package that has been made available by Veterans Affairs Canada? Alors, tout le monde a compris, il y a un petit paquet pour chacun des anciens combattants lorsqu'on sort ici. Et merci beaucoup, sincèrement, d'avoir assisté ici aujourd'hui. Voilà.